This is the 2023 Science Fair packet. The Science Fair will be held on Thursday, February 23rd, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. You are not required to attend, but your project needs to be on display at the event. Below is a description of each required part and when it is due to Mrs. Tomlinson. You will get class time to start each part, but you will need to do some work at home, depending on what you choose to investigate for your project. All parts of your project need to be submitted via Google, except the final display. So there will be due dates, and there will be a Google doc that you share with me. So here's the first part you need to complete. It's the question. I'm looking for a one-question sentence. You have to write a testable question. This means that it can be measured with numbers or observed with dates and times. This must be approved by a parent or guardian and your teacher. Classwork time is on the 20th, and then you need to have your adult at home sign here and a teacher, that's me, sign here before you begin any of your work to be sure that you have a question that's appropriate and testable. The due date is the 23rd of January. When you get it finished, you can just put an X in the box so you can kind of keep track of what you're doing and how you're doing it and when it gets done. The next piece that you need to work on is the background research paragraph and key terms. This is a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph. What you're going to do is you're going to research the topic, so research your question, and write a paragraph to explain the purpose of the investigation. Explain the topic and be able to teach others about it. You want to become an expert. Be sure to describe the science behind your project or investigation. It should educate the audience about what is being investigated, how it's being investigated, why the investigation or topic has purpose or is important or relevant, or how the investigation applies to everyday life. And then include and underline 5 key scientific terms that relate to the topic. After your paragraph, you want to define the 5 key terms in a bulleted list, or you can include the definitions in the actual paragraph. You'll get some classwork time on the 23rd. That's also when it's due at the end of the hour. You can check it off when it's done. After you develop your question, you'll want to write a hypothesis. Your hypothesis can be 2 to 3 sentences. Remember, a hypothesis starts with the words I think and ends with a period. It has actually a prediction of what the outcome of the investigation will be using an educated guess about the answer to the question. Also, explain why you think that will be the outcome. You get classwork time on the 27th, okay? And it is due at the end of the hour on the 27th. Your materials. Materials in a science project are made in a bulleted list. You list all the materials that you'll need to complete your experiments. Be sure to list the exact amounts so that another scientist could repeat your investigation. You get classwork time on the 27th. You'll be writing a procedure. This is numbered steps. If you are taking an experiment out of a book or offline and it has a procedure written, you are more than welcome to copy that procedure and write it out. Clearly write out the procedure you're going to follow. Remember, only one variable is being tested and everything else needs to remain constant. Write your procedure in numbered steps. If your investigation has been performed before you find it online, you may copy the steps. If you're planning to follow them exactly, if you do anything different than what's already written, you need to make sure that you include that in your numbered steps, and this is due at the end of the day on the 27th. So these are all work days. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to work on it in class. And then for the next 2 weeks, you're on your own to perform your experiment, collect data, okay, at home. If you need help with supplies or materials, please come see me. All right, let me turn the page here. The next thing is due is data, and data usually comes in the form of a graph, a chart, or a table. You want to make sure that you collect numerical data, that means numbers, and make observations, that means sentences, explain your data. This means taking some kind of measurements or recording observations during your investigation. Determine the best way to present data so that it's easy to read. This should either be a chart, graph, or table. It might be necessary to write 2 to 3 sentences that explain your observations. You will get an hour in class on the 14th. You need to write a conclusion. This is just a sentence. So after examining the data, write an answer to the question. Use a complete sentence and restate the question to form the answer. Here's an example. If the question is, does salt water freeze faster than fresh water? Then the answer or the question has to be put into your conclusion. Your conclusion would be, fresh water freezes faster than salt water. See, the words are in the same order with an answer. Capital letter, period. It's a complete sentence. This is due on the 20th. You do have classwork time to put that together. The last 2 pieces are the analysis and the constructing your display board. In the analysis, this is another 5 to 7 sentence paragraph. You're going to write a paragraph that answers these questions. What happened during the investigation? So you want to say, while we were blah, 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 this, blah, 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 blah. Tell me what you learned. If you were to do this again, what changes would you make? What went wrong? What went right? Did you make changes and try it 2 or 3 times? Remember, you can do more than one trial. What sources of error might have affected the results? Like what went wrong or what could you have done that actually made the results not turn out the way you thought they were going to turn out or the way they should have turned out? You do get classwork time for that. It is due on the 20th of February. The last piece, we will do this in class. We will construct your display board in class. You'll need to bring your trifold board to class, and then you will construct it in class. So you'll print things out at home, or if you need things printed, please make sure you let me know, and I can take care of that. I will print 1 time. Once you've completed all your parts above, you're going to display your work to communicate the results of your experiment to others. The display board will need to be completed with the format below. It will be graded on the information it contains, not how colorful or fancy it looks. It must have all the components in the diagram and organized in the same way. Other requirements. The font has to be easy to read and at least 16 point or larger. So as you're writing all of your parts of your scientific method, please make sure you make them large enough to read, put them under headings, and then be able to print them off or have me print them off for you so that the font is easy to read. Photos should not include faces of students. It's not a show, right? You're taking a picture of what things are happening if you're taking pictures. Information needs to be typed or written neatly by hand. So people need to be able to read it. The public is coming to the science fair and they do need to be able to read your writing. You have classwork time for 4 days before the science fair, and it is due on the day of the science fair to be set up at the science fair. Here's the format your display board should take. Your display board should take this format. You want to write a heading hypothesis and paste your hypothesis here. Background research and paste your paragraph here. Procedure, you paste your steps here. You write your question really big and you paste your question here in question form very large. The materials are set up into 3 boxes. You can go ahead and list them. It doesn't have to be 3 boxes. This is just the area. It goes on your trifold board. Your data goes here, conclusion is here, your analysis goes here, and your name, first name and last, and hour go on the bottom right corner of your science fair board. All right, there you have it. Those are the requirements and information for your science fair. So when you get an actual grade, I'm going to look at the content and the points possible in your question. It's worth 4 points. Is it testable? Worth 1 point. Spelling, is it correct? 1 point. A written sentence in a complete sentence. This is a capital and a question mark. This is 2 points. Your total points possible are 4. I will ask you to score yourself, and then I will score you, and then write notes when I actually end up grading each section. Every piece that I grade, the question, the hypothesis, the background research, the procedure, the data, the conclusion, the analysis, and the project display, they all have bullet points and they state how many points they're worth. You get to score yourself. This is a huge project. If you look at the bottom of this table, your project is worth 50 points, okay? So this is a big chunk of your grade. So you want to make sure that you're not making friends during this point. You're just working with friends if you have a group. If you have a group, so let's say there are 3 of you, you only turn in 1 project, okay? All right, any other questions I will answer in class.